Deep in the jungles of Central America stand the ruins of great cities. Towering stone pyramids, grand palaces, and sprawling plazas, once home to tens of thousands. Then, over the span of about a century, the people walked away. The cities fell silent, and the rainforest crept in to swallow them whole. What made one of the most advanced civilizations of the ancient world abandon its greatest cities? This is the mystery of the Maya collapse. Welcome to Curio Hour, where we uncover the strange, the unsolved, and the unforgettable. Today's story: the Maya collapse. First, let us clear up a common misconception. The Maya did not vanish. The Maya people are very much alive today, millions of them, across Mexico and Central America. What collapsed was not the people, but their classic civilization. A golden age of great cities, kings, and monuments that came to a dramatic end over 1,000 years ago. The Maya civilization arose in the tropical lowlands of what is now southern Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Honduras, flourishing for many centuries. During their classic period from around 250 to 900 in the Common Era, the Maya reached extraordinary heights of culture and achievement. They built towering step pyramids that rose above the jungle canopy, grand palaces, ball courts, and observatories, all without metal tools or the wheel for construction. They were brilliant astronomers, tracking the sun, moon, and planets with remarkable accuracy and creating calendars of astonishing sophistication. They developed the most advanced writing system in the ancient Americas, a complex script of hieroglyphs that recorded their history, their kings, and their gods. And they were master mathematicians who understood the concept of zero and worked with enormous numbers, long before many other cultures of the world. This was not a single unified empire, but a landscape of competing city-states. Powerful cities like Tikal, Calakmul, Kapan, and Palenque, each ruled by its own dynasty of kings. These cities were ruled by god-kings, powerful divine rulers who connected their people to the gods and were expected to ensure prosperity, victory, and above all, reign. The kings raised carved stone monuments called stelae, recording their reigns, their conquests, and their rituals in proud detail. At its height, the Maya world was densely populated. Millions of people lived across the lowlands, supported by sophisticated farming carved out of the demanding jungle environment. And this is a crucial point. The Maya heartland was not an easy place to feed millions of people. The soil was thin and there were few rivers or lakes. The region depended heavily on seasonal rains. To survive, the Maya built vast reservoirs and canals to capture and store water through the dry season. Their entire civilization, with its dense cities and millions of mouths to feed, balanced on the reliable arrival of the rains. This dependence would prove to be their great vulnerability. In a good year, the system fed a thriving population. But it left almost no margin for error and almost no defense against a sky that simply refused to rain. For centuries, the system worked and the Maya flourished. But then, beginning around the 8th and 9th centuries, something began to go terribly wrong. Across the southern Maya lowlands, the great cities began to falter and then to fail. The collapse did not happen everywhere at once, but it spread city by city. The signs are written in the monuments themselves. The Maya carefully recorded dates on their stelae. And in city after city, those dates simply stop. The last monument is raised. The last date is carved. And then silence. No more kings, no more inscriptions, no more grand construction. The great building projects ceased. The palaces emptied. The plazas, once crowded with people, fell quiet. The institution of the god-king itself collapsed. And the populations vanished from these cities. In many areas, the number of people fell drastically, by some estimates by 90% or more, over a relatively short time. People died or moved away, or both. The dense heartland of the classic Maya world emptied out, and the jungle, ever patient, began to reclaim the abandoned cities. Over the centuries, trees grew through the plazas. Vines wrapped the pyramids. The great stone temples were swallowed by green, hidden so well that some were not rediscovered for 1,000 years. So what happened? What could bring down such a brilliant and successful civilization? For a long time it was a deep mystery. But modern science has revealed powerful clues. And the leading answer points to the Mayas' greatest dependency: water, specifically a catastrophic and prolonged drought. Scientists have studied ancient climate records, locked in cave formations, lake sediments, and other natural archives that preserve a history of the region's rainfall. And the records reveal that during the very period of the collapse, the Maya lowlands were struck by a series of severe droughts, some of the worst in thousands of years. For a civilization balanced on the edge, utterly dependent on seasonal rain to feed its millions, a decades-long drought would have been catastrophic. The reservoirs would have dried up. The crops would have failed year after year. Famine would have spread through the crowded cities. And here, the role of the god kings becomes important. The kings had built their power on the promise that they could ensure the rains and the harvests through their connection to the gods. When the rains failed and the people starved, that promise was broken. The authority of the kings, the very foundation of Maya society, would have shattered. Faith in the rulers and the gods collapsed. And with it, the social order that held the great cities together began to come undone. But drought was likely not the only factor. As resources grew scarce, the competition between the rival city-states would have turned ever more desperate and violent. The Maya had always waged war, but in the final years, the warfare seems to have intensified, growing more destructive as cities fought over dwindling land and water. There may also have been environmental damage of the Maya's own making. To feed their huge population and fuel their building, they cleared vast areas of forest. This deforestation may have worsened soil erosion and even made the drought more severe, as the loss of trees reduced rainfall and dried out the land further. So the collapse was likely a perfect storm. Severe drought, failed harvests, overpopulation, environmental strain, broken faith in the kings, and escalating warfare, all feeding on each other. Each pressure made the others worse, until the whole system, brilliant but overstretched, finally broke apart under the strain. The people, faced with starvation and chaos, did the only sensible thing. They left. They abandoned the great cities and scattered to areas where they could survive. And this is the part of the story that is so often forgotten. The collapse was not the end of the Maya. It was a transformation. While the southern cities fell, Maya civilization continued and even thrived elsewhere, especially in the northern Yucatan, with great cities like Chichen Itza. The Maya adapted, moved, and rebuilt. Their culture, their language, and their descendants endured, all the way to the present day. When Spanish conquerors arrived centuries later, they found Maya peoples still living across the region, still speaking their languages, still keeping their traditions alive. Today, millions of Maya people carry on that ancient heritage. The civilization changed, but the people never disappeared. They are still here. What was truly lost was the classic world of the god kings, the great lowland cities, and the golden age that the jungle now guards in silence. The knowledge of how to read their writing was nearly lost too, and only in recent decades have scholars finally learned to decipher the ancient Maya script and hear their voices again. The Maya collapse is one of history's most important cautionary tales. A brilliant society undone in part by climate, in part by its own pressure on the land. It is a sobering reminder that no civilization, however advanced, is immune to the forces of drought, environment, and its own overreach. The great cities still stand in the jungle, silent and majestic, monuments to a golden age that the rains, in the end, could not sustain. The Maya collapse.